Professor Russell, welcome to 7:30.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you.
Now, you signed the statement about the societal risks posed by AI. Can you describe a realistic scenario in which the world or humanity is destroyed by AI?
So it's a little bit like asking the dodos how it was that humans were going to make them extinct. But we can examine some pretty simple scenarios, even with systems that can just engage in conversation with us, which ChatGPT and other systems can already do. So, for example, they might conspire to convince us gradually that we should pay less and less attention to climate change, for example. And we might not realize, so that's the scary thing. We might go to our doom not realizing that we're doing it because the AI systems are making it happen.
When you put it like that, I think that as humans we still have our intellects and our agency and critical thinking. What makes you think that AI could have the capacity to override sophisticated critical thinking?
We have to expect that AI systems will eventually exceed the collective human capability for decision-making in our own interests. And just as they already exceed the human capability to play chess and move chess pieces successfully, and it's no good saying, well, we could just play better chess. We can't play better chess than what we're able to do. And if the machines are able to exceed those capabilities, then we lose the game. So the only option actually is to make sure that we're not in a game with the AI systems, that in fact they're on our side and not inadvertently or deliberately in conflict with us.
Just take that chess example for a moment. It's been a long time since a human could beat a machine at playing chess, but we still play chess with each other and we still enjoy it. Why isn't that the example of what the future looks like, where AI has enormous capacity, but it isn't necessarily at odds with or trying to overwhelm us?
Well, I think that's the right answer. We need to make sure that AI systems are not at odds with humanity. But the problem is that the way we design AI systems actually inevitably leads to that outcome. Because the way we design AI systems, by and large, is that we define objectives for them, and then the AI systems pursue those objectives. And the difficulty is we don't know how to define the objective completely and correctly so that no matter what the AI system does, it ends up being aligned with what we really want the future to be like.
You were a signatory to the previous letter asking for a pause. You've now signed this letter. Tell me, how widespread is the fear in the AI community?
It's a little hard to say. For the first letter is signed, I believe, by tens of thousands of people, but I can't say how many of those are AI researchers. The more recent statement was only circulated to a much smaller number of people. But the fact that the CEOs of some of the leading companies developing AGI, which include OpenAI, as well as DeepMind, which is part of Google, and Anthropic, which is a spin-off from OpenAI. So those three CEOs all signed the letter, along with a number of mainstream AI researchers. So I think it shows that, in fact, the concern is real, and it's absolutely not a fringe concern of people who are not really mainstream AI researchers and developers. So what people have been concerned about is that the fear exists, but people have been afraid to actually express it because they were worried that they might be labeled as fringe loonies, as Luddites, and so on, which has certainly been a label that's been thrown at people such as Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, and myself for saying that there's going to be a problem when AI systems exceed human capabilities.
What is it that you want to happen to control essentially an arms race in AI development?
The general principle of regulation is that the regulator sets the safety criteria, and the developer, the vendor, has to meet those safety criteria. And if they can't, they don't get to sell or deploy their product. So that's what we're really asking for, is that regulators specify safety criteria, which mean that AI systems cannot take actions that present an undue risk to humanity or even to individual human beings. And that was the purpose of the letter asking for a 6-month pause, was to give governments a chance to make good on their promise to write those regulations and put them in place. And so far, China has already done that, and the US has promised to do that, and the European Union is in the process of doing that through the AI Act.
At Davos, the head of Microsoft argued in favour, I think, of unrestricted deployment of large language models. It raises the question, is there too much power concentrated in the hands of a small number of companies?
I think that's a good question. And there is a huge economic impetus behind the development of general purpose AI. Right now, in the United States, some of the tech companies are actually putting ads on TV urging people to oppose regulation of AI systems, which I think is really completely inappropriate. And there seems to be a battle going on. You've got the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, saying, absolutely, we need regulation right now. And you've got Microsoft, which is a major shareholder in OpenAI, arguing the opposite. So I think what's going to happen actually is that through international organizations like OECD and UNESCO, there is going to be some progress on regulation coordinated between the governments, and that coordination process, I think, has enough weight to overcome resistance from the tech companies.
I just want to finish where we started, just one more time to ask you to define the risk that AI poses humanity.
So the real risk that is being expressed in the open letter comes from the fact that eventually AI systems will be more intelligent than humans, more capable of making effective decisions in the real world and outthinking the human race. And before that happens, we have to get regulation in place to make sure that AI systems are entirely aligned with what humans want the future to be like, so that we don't end up in a conflict that we are bound to lose.
On that note, Professor Russell, thank you very much indeed for joining us. That was fascinating.
Thank you very much.